meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by Zoom teleconference. I would like to remind council to have their microphones turned on and positioned so the audience can hear you. City Clerk, maybe we have roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa. Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal.
Here.
Mayor Males.
Here.
All members are present with the exception of District Seat 1.
The invocation will be by Pastor Glenn Shamlofel of Cornerstone Church, and after which Council Member Linda Krupa will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you for being given the honor to give the invocation tonight, and I appreciate your service to our community. Let's pray. Father in heaven, creator of the earth, we come with a desire to understand your will and purpose for this city. Father, I pray for a spirit of wisdom and discernment to rest upon the council members. We pray that you would give them insight as they deliberate and decide and discuss. We thank you, Lord, for this place that we call home. We ask your blessing and favor upon it. We ask, Lord, that you would bring help to those that are hopeless. We pray for those in our community that are hurting, widows, the homeless, the addicted, those who are suffering financial concerns. We ask, Lord, that you would grant mercy and kindness. Lord, we pray for the Meyer family in this time of grieving as they walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that you would bring comfort and hope to them. We thank you for the service of Carly Meyer, and we thank you for the many, many contributions she made to the good of this community for so many years. We commit this meeting to you. We thank you for your blessings and your bounty. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Join me in the salute to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, if it's okay, in honor of Carly, can we excuse her for one more absence?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Carly Meyer.
I will second that and thank you because I wanted to do the same thing.
We'll do a roll call for the excuse of absence of Councilmember Meyer. Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal.
Yes.
Mayor Males.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-0.
Today, I want to take a moment to honor the memory of Council Member Carly Meyer, who passed away on Monday, April 17th, 2023. We extend our deepest condolences to her family, friends, and colleagues. Council member Meyer was a dedicated public servant who worked tirelessly for the betterment of our community. We ask for a moment of silence in remembrance of Carly and her contributions to our city. Followed by a brief intermission, please join me in taking a moment of silence. I now recess the meeting for 5 minutes. Carly, rest in peace. You will be missed, but your legacy will continue to inspire us. I call this meeting back to order. We will now take the next item, communications from the public. There is a 3-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. For those that wish to join by Zoom, you will be asked to raise your hand if you would like to speak. Please state your name and item you are commenting on before speaking. We will take the public comments for items listed on the agenda. May I have Brian Hutchins on agenda 8C, please?
Good evening. Thank you. I'm speaking on item 8C.
Talk into the mic, please.
Yes, I'm speaking on item 8C. My name is Brian Hutchins. I'm the grant writer with Voices for Children. And first of all, I want to express my condolences for your loss. I also want to express our gratitude to the City Council for recommending our program for a Community Development Block Grant Award. Voices for Children is the local nonprofit that provides court-appointed special advocates, known as CASAs, to children in foster care. CASAs are community volunteers trained and supported by Voices for Children staff to advocate on behalf of children in foster care. Each child who enters the foster care system has experienced abuse and neglect. Unfortunately, the foster care system can cause additional trauma. Siblings are too often separated. Children change foster care placements in schools frequently, losing contact with friends, family, and the community. It can be a time of anxiety, confusion, and isolation. Voices for Children provides these children with CASAs who will support them and advocate for them. These incredible community volunteers get to know children through regular visits and fun outings, and they also become strong advocates who speak up for the children in court, at school, and throughout the community. They listen to children and champion for their needs, making sure that each child has access to therapy, tutoring, and whatever other resources they need to address their past trauma and create a brighter, future. I'll leave you with a quick story about the impact a CASA can have. 15-year-old Eddie has been in and out of foster care ever since he was a toddler. He re-entered the foster care system in 2016 after suffering more physical abuse and neglect from his parents. Since then, Eddie has lived in 12 different foster and group home placements. Eddie was matched with Casa Cristina in 2021. Although he is wary of adults, he and Christina have built a trusting relationship during their consistent bi-monthly visits. This fall, Eddie lost access to the therapist who he had been working with for more than a year. He also missed some important specialty medical appointments because of his frequent placement changes. Casa Cristina submitted a court report with detailed information about Eddie's unmet needs. Shortly thereafter, Eddie got appointments with the medical specialist and a new therapist. If not for Christina, Eddie may have gone without access to these critical services. Thank you for supporting children like Eddie and CASAs like Christina.
Thank you, sir. John, can we get some air in here? It's a little hot in there, please. Thank you. We're going to move to non-agenda items. Adam Eventag.
On behalf of SoCal Gas, please accept our condolences. We're all heartbroken about the loss of Carly. Honorable Mayor, City Council, Adam Evantop, Public Affairs Manager for SoCal Gas. Want to give you a quick update. We can always get into more details at a later time. You should be noticing your bills have been trending downward. If your bill spiked at $300, for example, in January, it should have been about around $165 in February and $100 in March. And we expect things to continue downward as demand lightens up. SoCal Gas does not benefit from the rise and fall of gas prices. Our fees of bringing the pipes to your home are set by the California Public Utilities Commission. What goes in those pipes have been set on the open market and supply and demand has been quite high due to the winter and a variety of other reasons, setting the natural gas prices upwards throughout the West Coast from really Vancouver to San Diego. So all utilities have been affected. We have suspended collection and activities and disconnections. So that's not a factor for right now. We continue to offer a variety of programs to ease the sting. Please visit socalgas.com/assistance, or if you know somebody who might need some assistance with various programs, socalgas.com/assistance. There's also a non-income qualified program, the Level Pay program, that averages out your bill and it helps ease cash flow. We also recently announced a $10 million effort to using shareholder dollars to help a variety of things, including the Gas Assistance Fund for $5 million. That's basically to help grants for utility assistance, as well as $4 million to relaunch our Fueling Our Communities program, various grants, including the Salvation Army, Feeding America, and Family Service Association all received grants. We're also reenacting our $1 million commitment to the Restaurant Care Resiliency Fund. And so restaurants can apply for a $1,000 grant to help during tough times. For more information about all this stuff, again, socalgas.com/assistance, etc. And we do remind folks, turn down your thermostat, continue to conserve, turn down your water heater, wash in cold water, weatherproof your house, etc. And thank you for the time. And I am available for to go into much more detail.
Thank you, sir. Carolina Brooks on transportation.
So my name is Carolina Brooks. I'm representing Caravan Transit System Incorporation. I believe I'm going to be discussing the action item number 8B. And I just wanted to just say that we're here in the community and we've been here since 1994. We've been founded, and Caravan is a transportation needs for the elderly, disabled, and Caravan provides door-to-door services for seniors, individuals with disabilities, and individuals who are financially disadvantaged. So, and Caravan is generously supported through grants from the Riverside County Transportation Commission, Measure A 5310. And the community blocks the grants that help us is this, like Soboba Foundation, and also California Family Life Center that help us with our funding as well. And so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Norm Kairos on the Ramona pageant.
Good evening, council, mayor, and staff. My name is Norm Kairos. I'm the president of the Ramona Bowl Amphitheater, and we want to express our condolences for the loss of Carly Meyer. She will definitely be missed. I want to give you an update of what's been happening up there. We had our opening day Saturday, and we had nearly over 3,000 people attend. We had a gentleman all the way from New York. We expect our weekend to be even bigger coming up this Saturday. And unfortunately, I think we're expecting it to be hotter too. But anyway, we're celebrating an exciting time, 100 years of the Ramona pageant. We started in 1923. We had, I think it was about a week and a half ago, we had a small celebration of way back in 1923, ring the bell to back when they did it too. But anyway, we have hundreds of volunteers, cast, just giving it their all. And they're excited. If you haven't gone to the pageant, shame on you. You should. It's definitely an exciting time. We're thrilled about it. If you want to get involved, please give us a call up there. We still could use some help this upcoming weekend, Saturday mostly. So there definitely is some volunteer opportunities. Anyway, yes, definitely. Parking is one. Definitely. We're going to need help parking cars, but all sorts of assorted things up there. We start at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's open. Our gates open to the public at 12:30. We do have some pre-show activities that you can enjoy. We have our museum, newly renovated museum with our fresco. If you haven't seen a fresco, you've got to come out and take a look at the museum. It's in our museum. It's awesome. Done in 1942 by Milford Zorn. We do have a new gift shop there also. So there's a lot of things that you could do while you're relaxing, waiting for the doors to open to take your seat at 3:30. And that's Saturday, Sunday. There's still tickets available. Our box seating is sold out. But if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're open up at the Bowl Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Gary, yeah, baby Oakley.
Good evening, everyone. And I too, as a begin, would like to express my condolences to you as members of the council and the community, to all of us for the loss of Carly. And she was a champion in this community, and like all of you. And I want to thank all of you for your service and your dedication. But what I want to talk to you specifically about tonight is an organization that I represent as what's called a regional advisor for a not-for-profit called International Student Exchange. And International Student Exchange has been in operation since it's 40 years. I can't do the math in my head, but the objective of International Student Exchange is to bring high school age foreign exchange students to various communities throughout the country. And I represent specifically a team called Specific Horizons that covers all of California. And I am looking for volunteer host families who have a passion for kids and would consider the possibility of bringing a high school age student or students into their home so that they can come here to learn about America in America. And I, as some of you know, have had a privilege to be involved in a lot of things here. But I'm very passionate about the student exchange, just simply because the kids are the hope of a better world. And what better way to do that than to provide an opportunity for students to come and see our community as it really is. And I've lived here for over 9 years now, and there's no place that I've ever been that has been as giving and caring as this community. So I'm looking for men, women, single, married, empty nesters that are at least 25 years of age and would on a voluntary basis bring students into their home, either for 1 semester, 2 semesters. And the biggest requirement that you have besides being at least 25 is pass a background check. And we ask that you provide a student with a clean, comfortable, safe environment to live and study in, and that you just give them the opportunity to see the community as it is. If a student comes here, your obligation is to provide 3 meals a day and what International Student Exchange calls reasonable snacks. Beyond that, if a student wants to play soccer, for example, or be involved maybe with the Hemet Concert Association, it's up to them. So I would love to talk with you about it, and I have material if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Gail Wesson, Animal Control Shelter Service.
Hi, I'm Gail Wesson. I'm interested in what the city's going to do about animal control and shelter services. I know you can't answer tonight, but it's the contract expires June 30th. The Ramona Humane does not want to handle animal control aspect of services anymore. And I was here probably about a year ago and asked some questions about their programs. Mr. Shepherd spoke. One of my questions was about community cats. They were talking about allowing people to bring in cats, get them fixed and released back to neighborhoods. I don't think that program's going on. I've helped a neighborhood where we spent about $800 to get neighborhood cats fixed. And I just hope that the council has this on the radar. I know it's not the most important issue before you, but there is a contract deadline coming up. And I know Supervisor Gutierrez on a telephone town hall recently was saying he's looking into possibly reopening some kind of limited services in the county shelter that was much newer than Ramona's, but he was not specific about what he might be able to do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Shaw Rosenrager, building electricity or electrification.
Good evening, council, mayor, staff. My name is Shaul Rosenrager, and of course, I would like to start by joining others in expressing my condolences. Carly was an important and will be an important person and asset to this valley. And I'm here on behalf of the Green Coalition. Inside the Green Coalition of the San Jacinto Valley, we have a smaller group called the Climate Working Team, or the Climate Team. And there's about 12 of us on that team right now. And the reason we are focused on this topic is that we think it has real importance to the future of Hemet, and decisions that we make today will affect the future in a increasingly in a real significant way. So I'm here to invite you to join us to another chapter in our series, Community Climate Conversations, in which we talk about different aspects of how climate change is affecting our valley already and now and in the future, and more importantly, what we can do about it. It's interesting that we had here tonight someone from the gas company, because the topic of our meeting this coming Thursday is called How to Get Rid of Gas. And the answer is building electrification. This is one of the ways that we can reduce our emissions, and we will have to do it if we want to our children to have a livable world. The state of California and the federal government are giving more and more incentives to do this. And as a community, I think it's important that we learn how to do it efficiently and how to help those that can least afford it, because we all need to electrify our lives, basically, what we drive, where we live, where we work. In this meeting, we will have Jerry Willenbring. He's the founder of Electrify California. He will review the current state of technology and what it takes to transition a home or a business to electricity. We will also have a local HVAC contractor who specializes in transitioning homes and businesses from gas to electricity. I have some flyers for you, and anybody else who is interested, they'll be out on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will take public comment for items listed on the agenda. Are there any members of the public participating through Zoom that would like to comment on any items?
Thank you, Mayor. If there's anyone on the Zoom call, now is the time to raise your hand and I'll unmute you, and we'll give you just a few brief moments. Seeing none, Mayor, there's no Zoom comments.
How about for non-agenda items?
If there's anyone else out there for non-agenda items, now is the time to raise your hand. Give you just a brief moment. Seeing none, Mayor, there's no public comment.
Thank you, sir. We will now move to presentations. Linda Krupa, or Councilmember Linda Krupa, please. Can I please have Noah Rao step up, please? I believe it's Noah Rao, or who? Huh? Oh, yours for the library. Sit down, Noah. May we have Kathy step up, please? Turn it on.
Am I on now? Okay, very good. Okay, I have a proclamation from the city of Hemet, California, National Library Workers' Day. Whereas libraries equal communities and provide millions of people with the knowledge and information they need to live, learn, and work in the 21st century. And libraries provide invaluable service to library users regardless of age, ethnicity, or socioeconomic background. Whereas libraries represent a microcosm of the larger community, and library workers play an essential and unique role in the communities that they serve by providing an inclusive environment where all are treated with respect and dignity. Whereas libraries and librarians are looking beyond their traditional roles and providing more opportunities for community engagement and delivering new services that connect closely with their patrons' needs. And librarians and library support staff bring the nation a world of knowledge in person and online, as well as personal service and expert assistance in finding what is needed when it is needed. Whereas it is important to recognize the unique contributions of all library workers and the value to individuals and society of those contributions. Now, therefore, Joe Males, the mayor of the city of Hemet, along with the entire Hemet City Council, hereby proclaim April 25th, 2023 as National Library Workers' Day, and encourage all in the community to take advantage of the variety of library resources available and to thank library workers for their exceptional contributions to the citizen. Oh, here we go. Back on. So Kathy, here you go for the library and the librarians and the workers. Okay. Do it again. Here you go. Now you get to talk about everything you just like.
You know, yeah, okay, go. Libraries more than just books. Remember, we have DVDs, we have music, we have ebooks. Okay, we have ebooks. We have, you can stream movies. There's so many things you can learn a new language through the library. You can get online homework help. We have resources for veterans. We have tax information, even though, you know, tax time is over with, but we have a page for tax information. Additionally, we have two staff members, Letitia Bowles and myself, who are certified to be passport acceptance people for the State Department. We don't work for the State Department, but we can help you process that passport. There's a million things we could, well, maybe not a million, but a whole lot that we are able to do. We're happy. Please come down and use our services. And I want to thank you. And for everybody who comes up, stop by and see me at the Bull on Saturday and Sunday for the next 2 weeks, because I'll be there. And I should also mention that, Norm, you didn't mention, is we will be unveiling the Helen Hunt Jackson Literary Landmark up at the Bowl. That'll be May 7th. Yeah, thank you. And which is different from the literary landmark for Helen Hunt Jackson at the library. Different, we focused on different things. So do come by and see me then. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I please have Public Works Director, City Engineer Noah Rao approach the dais to accept the Arbor Day proclamation, please.
Proclamation for Arbor Day. Whereas the city of Hemet celebrates the trees that clean our air, beautify our landscapes, and sustain the earth for future residents. In commemorating Arbor Day, we recognize that each generation takes the earth as trustees. And whereas Arbor Day was first observed in 1872 with the planting of more than 1 million trees in the state of Nebraska, this observation encourages us to beautify our communities by hosting litter collecting and tree planting events. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are renewable resources, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, Joel Males, Mayor of the City of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day. I urge all citizens to celebrate and support the efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Presented April 25th, 2023.
For those that don't know, Hemet is a member of the Tree City USA. So, and then we've got a couple of events for Arbor Day coming up. The first one is going to be on Thursday at 10 a.m. at David Altman Park for a tree planting. And then on Saturday at 7 a.m. at Simpson Park, we have a restoration event. We'll be planting at least 22 trees, and anyone can come. We'll be doing a cleanup and painting some facilities. So hope to see you all there.
Thank you.
We will now move to the consent calendar. All consent calendar items will be acted upon simultaneously unless requested by an individual council member for separate consideration. Are there any members of the council that would like to pull any consent items for separate consideration?
Yes, I would like to pull 7E and 7F.
Any other council members? Was that a no? Okay, I would like to pull 7B, 7C, and 8A. Can I have a motion to approve the items that are remaining on the agenda? And a second, please.
Mayor, I want to make a point of order that item 8A is not on the consent calendar. That's our discussion item. So we're
My
just
error.
approving
I am
the
so sorry.
consent calendar with the exception of the items 7B, C, E, and F.
Okay.
For separate consideration.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
I'll make a move to approve those other items other than the 4 that you just mentioned.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0. First item will be 7B.
Hold on, let me see where my notes are here. 7B. Darn it. Oh, okay, the lights in the park. This is going to be a grant that we're receiving for 150 or, and my question is, are we paying the other half for this, and where is that coming out of? Oh, Noah, sorry.
No worries. Mayor, the other half would be coming from DIF funds, ARC DIF funds that are paid as developers develop, and it goes into a pot, and we have a fund balance that should be, I checked with finance, it may even be in the staff report here, and it's adequate to cover the other 50%.
There is enough to cover. Okay, so no general fund money at all.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
And 7C.
Vote
Yes,
for
sir.
the 7B, sorry.
Okay, so let's get a motion then on 7B. Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion to pass 7B, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 7B.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lilienthal, second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Okay, moving on to 7C. My question, I guess, is where do the funds come from on this item for the $100,000? And why can't we use Measure H money for the safety part of this agenda item? Over there. Did you get the question?
Yes, I did,
Okay.
Mayor. So these funds are already budgeted out of the human resources budget. And basically what we see here is with an increase of recruitments, we've also seen increased cost. So we do have those funds budgeted currently. So the ask is only to approve the up to amount of $100,000 because it is over the $50,000 threshold.
But still, the question is, a lot of these are for safety personnel, which
Yes.
fall under Measure H. I'm just wondering why none of the money is coming from Measure H to cover that.
That is something that we can look at. If that is something that's possible to use under Measure H, then we would be happy to explore that.
It falls under safety.
I can elaborate a little bit on that. It's possible that we already have Measure H as a source for that appropriation in the original budget, because it technically can be. Measure H is a general tax, and as designated by the council's resolution, we are allocating those resources to public safety today. So the safety related investments here can be charged to Measure U.
Oh, great. Thank you, sir. All right. Any other questions on that? No one? Thank you, sir. Ma'am. Can I have a motion to pass 7C, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 7C.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lilienthal, second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Jackie, this is yours, 7E.
7E.
Okay, this 7E has a lot of important positions on it. And I agree with most of it. I'm not really happy with the way that they were all lumped in together on one item. The Community Development Director had building and safety removed from them and code enforcement removed. And economic development was added. However, in my research that I did, I think we are well within range of 155,000 annually now. Moving it up to 142 to 190, I do not believe is necessary. I looked at Riverside, they get 73,000. The top in Riverside County is 102,000 annually. We're at 155 annually already. LA gets 81,933. And both these cities are bigger than us. They have more responsibility. They have more going on in their city. The average in California is 81,000. And again, we're at 155 now, and we want to raise this to 141,781 to 190 annually. I don't think the added responsibility of economic development outweighs taking away building and safety and code enforcement. That's my comments.
Council member, so which position do you research? Because that does not sound like director level positions. Which positions were they?
I looked at several resources.
Were they economic development director
Yes,
positions?
yes.
There's really no director positions that fall under $100,000. Definitely not in California.
Well, these were as of March 28th, 2023 that I looked at. I looked at a couple of resources, a couple of different ones online, and that's what they posted as of the end of last month.
So we did a salary study of the surrounding cities and also our comparable cities, which are listed in the MOUs. And this is where we're not even towards the top. We're about sixth, even with this range. So I'm not sure what that position may be. Like I mentioned, it couldn't possibly be a director level community development director position. But if you could give us those cities or those agencies, we could look at them because we are very much beneath market with the 155.
I'd like to know if it's maybe possible that we can separate these because some are new positions, some are established positions. One was inactive. So I think it's better if we split them up and vote on them separately.
We could definitely do that. Prior city managers had requested for us to lump them up together. So I apologize if we were just going in that direction. So usually we used to do one separate staff report per position, and we were asked not to do it that way. But if that is the ask, we could definitely look into that. And I'll work with the city manager on that.
Tonight, you have an opportunity to take separate motions if you'd like in each of the positions. With respect to the community development director position, do we have copies of the survey data with us today? Can we potentially share that quickly with the council? And the specific title that we're referring to here is the community development director position. So this is sometimes called a planning director in some cities, a community development director in other cities. Norma, could you read from high to low on the top step? And this is base salary and the city in the title.
So I don't have it pulled up. I
Misha, do you have that?
could pull that up.
Okay, so for the community development director, there were 13 matches. And of those 13, we ranked the number 7. So the top match was for the city of Temecula, and that was a range of 163,509 to 231,026. Number 2 would be Marietta with a range of 95,217 all the way to $227,223. And then third is City of Menifee with a range of 172,890 to 221,855. And again, we rank number 7 at the proposed range of $141,780 to $190,000. The lowest ranked city on here would be Banning, and that is $117,262 to $158,641. And then I can give you a couple of the other cities that we surveyed. So City of Sure. So number 6 would be City of Redlands. That range is 167,592 to 203,484. And then right below us would be City of Alhambra. That's 143,880 to 187,304.
if I could make a comment on this. You know, when we do look to add or revise to get qualified people, we do have to look at what's around us and not what's the average in the state of California, because that goes all over the place. And while it seems high, we do have to pay to get money to come here, or to get money to come here. Yeah, I'll be fine. To get people to come here. And I think it's been the intent to offer money that is comparable to our surrounding cities so that we can get qualified people to come here and to stay here. And I think the stay here is the thing. And if you hire in, and I would say most times we do not hire in at the top pay, but based on qualifications. And if you look at what we're asking for on here for the amount of experience plus definitely a bachelor's degree and preferring a master's degree. And we've been talking about upgrading qualifications for employees at the city of Hemet since I've been on council. And I like the fact that that is where we are going, because so much of the time you get what you pay for and then train them and they go to somebody else. So if we can get somebody that is qualified at a reasonable, competitive rate, I am absolutely all for it. Thank you.
My comment to that is we haven't had very good luck in recent years with our key staff people. They come in, we pay them a really good wage and they don't work out and we let them go. And it just seems to me that starting out at a high wage like this is just more than what our city can afford. We want to fill these positions and we can't keep upping our budget like this all the time. That's what I feel.
I agree with you on that point, Jackie, but I also agree with Councilmember Linda too, because in order to keep people, we got to pay a decent wage. We got to pay what people are making around us in other cities, and or else they'll just go to those cities. They won't come here, and we need good people here. So I understand both sides. So it is a lot, but sometimes you have to bite the bullet and go forward with it. So I don't know.
If I could make another comment on this.
Yes.
So, and I understand where Jackie's coming from. I really do. And can we separate and vote on each one of these separately so that if someone wants to have a no vote on one of the items, that's fine. And, or if you want to have a no vote on all of the items, that's fine, but at least take them separately so that it's not, so our votes can be registered the way we want them to be registered.
Go ahead.
Mayor, absolutely. The council wants to vote separately on the positions. That's fine. Just keep in mind, we do have a draft resolution here that had them all
Combines
together,
all of them.
which, as staff mentioned, was consistent with previous council direction. Council got annoyed with us bringing 10 items at once. We said bring them all together. Just be aware that what we'd have to do, we'll have to just redraft the resolutions for the
Would it be-
mayor's signature, assuming that they get signed. It would be the same language, but it would just have one position on each resolution.
Would it be better to table it for next meeting?
No,
No.
not necessary at all. I'm just letting you know that you're going to get, instead of signing the reso tonight, you'll get new resolutions probably tomorrow to sign, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, so Malcolm, you're going to have to make the motion. Sorry about that. So that we can keep track of our yes and no's,
17, or 70.
or if legal wants to help.
I don't know that.
Would you like me to help, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, the first one would be to approve the following new position and salary range, which would be the Administrative Services Director with the range of 149,243 to 200,000 annually. So if someone wanted to make a motion and you wanted to vote on that.
I'll make the motion to approve the administration one.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, second by Councilmember Krupa. Council, please cast your votes.
That motion passes 4-0.
Okay, the next one would be the new position and salary range of communications and event coordinator. The range is 88,740 to 118,920 annually.
I'll make a motion to approve what you just said.
Second that, or do you want me to? I'll second that.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, second by Councilmember Krupa. Council, please cast your votes.
No, this is
Communications.
community and events coordinator. Yeah, he's not going by. He's trying to confuse us.
That motion passes 4-0.
Okay, the third one is the new position and salary range of economic development analyst. The range is 74,664 to 156 annually.
I'll make the motion to approve this one.
Are you in favor?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Okay, here's the making sure. All right. Approval of the revised position and salary range of community development director with the proposed range of 141,781 to 190 annually.
Get us going. I'll make a motion to approve this one as well.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, second by Councilmember Krupa. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 3-1. Councilmember Peterson voting no.
And then the last one is to reactivate the following position, title, and salary range, which is associate planner. And the range is 65,988 to 84,216 annually.
Which is no change from what we've had before, correct?
Simply reactivating the position as it was previously existing.
I'll make the motion to approve this one.
Wouldn't a communications person be part of that too, or?
No, the communications and event coordinator has not existed previously. This position, associate planner, already exists at the city. It already has a salary range. We're simply reactivating it. It had been deactivated before.
I'll second that for the planner, associate planner, assistant planner,
Associate planner.
associate planner.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, second by Councilmember Krupa. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Yeah, I think that's all the positions. So I will be taking that single resolution that we had in the backup and turning it into 5 for the mayor's signature. Thank you.
That was 7E, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jackie, 7F, or yeah, 7F.
Okay, so on this one, you're asking $35,000 from the AMR penalty fees for training. Can you give me details on what the penalty fees are actually supposed to be used for?
Absolutely. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members and members of the community. Eddie Sell, Fire Chief and Agency Director for the Fire and Life Safety Agency. Tonight, I'm joined by my team, Deputy Chief Ryan Webb and Battalion Chief Greg Lloyd. AMR is the ambulance company that services Riverside County, including the city of Hemet. AMR ambulance, unfortunately, is late responding to calls within the city of Hemet. And basically, with an average response time of 10 minutes, anything greater than that, they are penalized with a fee. So we then collect those AMR penalty fees, and we're able to actually utilize them for training, education, life-saving equipment, nurse educator. But to speak on it a little bit further and give a little bit more depth, I have Deputy Chief Ryan Webb. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. As Chief Sell said, when AMR is late to a call, Riverside EMS EMS agency, RAMSA, the local accrediting agency, will penalize the ambulance company. They collect those fees and they redistribute them to the communities based on where those calls geographically took place. So those funds are collected by REMSA and they're allocated to the communities with the earmarking for EMS system enhancements. So those funds are only available to be used for something that promotes or expands the current EMS system.
Okay, it was my understanding, I did some research on this, and it was my understanding it was supposed to be used for equipment only. Has that contract been rewritten lately?
It's my understanding that the contract language allows for any enhancement for EMS providing. So equipment would certainly be one of those, as well as providing the oversight for the EMS program as we're requesting here.
Okay, so there was a 9,000 shortfall, and now you say because there's a new company, you need more money. So was it not budgeted properly, or was the money used for other things that you needed that $9,000? Why were we short?
Sure.
In that part?
So the EMS service was previously provided by a company called EMS, so Southern California EMS Services. It was owned by a gentleman named Art Durbin, who was a former employee of the city. He provided that service from 2014 up until recently when he sold his company. When he sold the company, he gave us a 90-day termination notice, which required us to try to identify a different vendor to provide that service. So Art had employed a lady named Melissa Schmidt, who was the actual educator that provided these services. In order to avoid any major disruption in the EMS providing service, Melissa assumed the remainder of the service by Southern California EMS. So we wanted to keep it consistent. We allowed our paramedics the same level of training they're accustomed to. She was obviously familiar with all of the background. So that was how that vendor was identified. In October, Art Durbin's contract was increased. Council voted on that and approved the contract at a higher cost than had previously been budgeted. So there was that $9,000 shortfall. At that time, there should have been a corresponding request for an increase in budget, and that did not take place. So what we had was the previously allocated $74,000 under Art's initial contract, and that created that $9,000 shortfall. So when Art terminated, we disencumbered the remaining PO, and that's what we've paid Greenleaf on for the 2 months that she's been providing services. But because she had to accumulate additional insurance, et cetera, the cost for her contract was higher. We also included the additional costs that are going to be associated with training additional new recruits. We have anticipated firefighters that are coming on board. So that was where the amount came from.
Okay, in your staff report, you say that all the payments are current, and I think there's a $850 charge that has not been paid to her yet.
That is correct. Because the existing account didn't have the full amount, we had to short pay her for the month of March, $815. And if this resolution is approved tonight, we would be able to make her whole for the month of March and then continue the payments through the remainder of the fiscal year.
Okay, unfortunately, I tried to find some information on the contract and I was not able to. So that's the key to all of this, is the contract from Riverside County and what you can use it for, because I was told it was for equipment. So that's my comments.
We want to make a motion to proceed, or?
I'll make a motion to approve this item. And I just want to make a comment that we need to make sure that that contract is available, not only for council members, but for the public on our website or wherever we do contracts.
You made
I made the motion.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lilienthal. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4 to 0.
1 abstention by Councilmember Peterson. 3-0, excuse me.
I am abstaining from this because this was enacted before I became in office in December, and I don't have all the background on it. So I do not want to vote yes or no at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will move to discussion action items. Our first discussion item is 8A. May we receive a report from staff on this item, please?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Charles Russell, Public Works Operations Manager. The item I have before you tonight is the Simpson Center Restoration Project. This project follows the strategic plan goal for quality of life. For quality of life, partnership and collaboration, and economic opportunity. Due to the COVID-19, excuse me. Okay. The James Simpson Memorial Center, or referred to the Simpson Center, is a City of Hemet building most recently operated by the Valleywide Recreation and Park District. They provided recreation programming for members of the community. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Simpson Center was closed and remained unoccupied for the last 3 years. On March 4th, 2022, City Council approved the ARPA project for Simpson Center improvements. So in preparation of reopening several areas of the interior and exterior of the building need to be repaired, replaced, or painted as a result of normal wear and tear and exposure to the elements. City staff is recommending the following projects be completed. We would like to paint the interior and exterior of the building, replace the roof, have a security alarm system upgrade. We want to have an elevator modernization, enclose the dumpster, backflow device, and gas meter areas, inspect and repair the HVAC units, perform interior deep cleaning, and replace the carpeting. Here, just have a few pictures of what needs to be painted on the interior and the exterior. And this is just all due to normal wear and tear and that from the previous uses of the Simpson Center. And of course, we have the outside of the building that's faded, has some filling paint just from exposure to the elements. As far as replacing the roof, the areas outlined in yellow, we would like to replace the entire roof, but those sections are tile sections, and we would like to replace those with a standing seam metal roof. The red is gravel. We would like to replace that with a new gravel roof, and the blue is shingle, and we would like to replace that section with a standing seam metal roof. The alarm system does not work. It's old and outdated, has to be upgraded. So they're going to replace the security, they're recommending to replace the security panel, add one wireless transmitter, add 2 keypads, install a cellular communicator, add single point expanders for each door contact, and add a wireless modem, wireless motion detectors. And the elevator also does not work in the Simpson Center. We need to replace the outdated electrical panel and all of the electrical parts. They no longer make any of the parts to repair this system because it's too old. They would also recommending that we test the submersible hydraulic pump, and then they'll replace that as needed, if it's needed. All of the other equipment for the elevator can remain. This is a picture of the back area where the dumpster and the RFP is located. We have a lot of issues with individuals hiding or laying out behind the enclosure, and they tamper with the water backflow device there to get water. So we would like to have a wrought iron gate on the north side and then a wrought iron door on the south side. And then we'd like to add a wrought iron cover over the top so that we can secure that area and prevent individuals from hanging out in the back and vandalizing the equipment. Here's some pictures of the carpet. This carpet's been in the building, I assume, since it was built. I don't think it's ever been replaced. So we would definitely like to replace the carpet. This is just showing some missing ceiling tiles and some leaks. You can see that we have a few leaks in the roof, and you can see where it's damaged a couple of the tiles. And then the floor, we have some tile that needs to be replaced. This right here is a list of all the costs that we've received so far. This right here, there will be no impact to the general fund. Funding is available in the ARPA Fund 270. Currently, the amount of unallocated ARP funds is $2,703,114. Staff is requesting $823,700 in appropriations with 10% contingency. If City Council adopts this resolution, the remaining amount of unallocated ARP funds will be $1,879,414. It is respectfully recommended that the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the interim finance director to establish a supplemental appropriation in Fund 270 in the amount of $823,700, including a 10% contingency for repairs to the exterior and interior of the Simpson Center. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, so this was approved in March of last year.
Yes.
So far, no money has gone towards it yet. Is that right?
No, we've had some minor repairs that were made for some ADA. I think we spent about $8,000, maybe $9,000 to repairs to do some upgrades for ADA to the restrooms.
Okay, I got that information today, so thank you. And that's the only thing that we've put into that so far.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't real clear on the report, I didn't think so. And also the estimates seemed pretty high for a couple of those things. And I know they're only estimates, so I really hope when you go out for bids that you find something lower than this, because $400,000 for a roof, I know it's a special roof, but that is like really, really high from what I've been told, and can be, we can probably receive a bid a lot less on that.
Yeah, for anything with that amount, we will be issuing a RFP for planted bids. And so hopefully we'll receive a lot of bids, and we'll definitely choose the best bid for the city.
And there were a couple other ones on there that were very, very high in my estimation, and I'm just hoping we can bring that down. So if we approve this, how soon would we be getting those bids in, do you think?
Well, we'll have to go out to bid, so it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks.
Okay, that's not bad then, yeah, because I know we have to spend the money by certain dates.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
After the bids come in and it's decided on who we're going to go along with, do you have an approximate estimation on when everything would be finished?
I don't want to make any promises on that. I mean, the way things are going now, depending on the supply and demand, we can hopefully get something done within the next 6 to 8 months.
When you guys are doing your research on the market analysis, are the costs high like that because you had to include like prevailing wages?
Yeah, everything that the city does has to be prevailing wages.
So the funds that you're going to use are from the unallocated ARPA money that we've put aside for kids. Is that what you're going to use?
Yes.
And the costs that you applied under this are not contractors' costs. They're just what you looked up. And
no, we actually got bids from the contractors on
how many?
On most of these bids.
Multiple bids?
Yeah, these are the ones that we got as estimates from from actual contractors. The only thing that we estimated ourselves was the work that is going to be done by the city staff. And that's the work on the HVAC and then some drywall repairs and some other miscellaneous items. But most of these are actually bids from the contract, or actually quotes and estimates from contractors.
Any local contractors?
Yes. Yeah, we got New Horizon Carpets is actually a local contractor. What else do we have?
Guess my main concern is where's the roofing contractor coming from?
We don't know that yet.
You don't know that yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can make a comment?
Yes, definitely.
When you go for upgrading and modernizing the elevator, would you see if you could do maybe a 2-for-1 type of job and fix the elevator in the library at the same time?
We had a conversation about that today.
Dang.
So that's we can definitely try to get the quotes for the library to see.
Get
if
a
we can
2-for-1.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Come on, Jackie.
I'll second it.
I
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lilienthal, second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 3-1. Mayor Males voting no.
Thank you for your presentation. Our next discussion item is 8B.
Mayor, I'll take this to begin with.
Okay.
Tonight, the city council will be considering approval of a resolution to support the Riverside County Transportation Commission in this route is in need of an application for federal and local match funding, local match defined as Riverside County Measure A type money. This is a transportation improvement project that has been planned since the 1980s. The project is in need of significant federal funding. And with the recent passage of the bipartisan federal infrastructure bill, this is now an opportunity to secure funding of that scale. And we're talking about a project that today is probably estimated at about $2 billion. The city of San Jacinto and the Winchester Municipal Advisory Council have recently adopted the resolution you're considering tonight in support of funding and seeking funding for this project, and essentially helping to prioritize and have the Riverside County Transportation Commission prioritize this project. Today, we're going to have the former San Jacinto Mayor Andrew Kotchek, who will be presenting on this resolution. And I know that Councilmember Krupa will also have some comments as the council's liaison to the RCTC.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Councilwoman Krupa, Commissioner RCTC, and of course our Councilwoman Peterson, City Manager as well. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Mayor, thank you for putting this on your agenda. This is something that our Valley and Commissioner Krupa and I have been fighting for some time. This project couldn't be at a more timely need as we wrap up the Coachella Valley weekend. Historically, Riverside County has been a bedroom community. And so through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, we've been mainly focused on our corridors to other counties to move our residents in and out of the county to job sites that they may be working at. In 2010 forward, we definitely have evolved to where we have a distribution of warehouses, a global logistics movement, as you can see on the 215 corridor, connected to the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles that feed the rest of the county, as those ports receive 40% of the goods from the nation, in and out. In addition, we've had tremendous growth, of course, out in Coachella Valley. This Coachella weekend that just wrapped up had 150,000 visitors or ticket goers per day out there. And wrapping up, we're working on the satellite imaging right now, but from, if you know where Cook Avenue is out in Palm Desert, all the way through Riverside where the 91, 215, 60 meet, and down south, trafficked leaving or exiting that area slow to roughly 3 miles an hour in and out. And what we're realizing is that Riverside County has evolved. We're no longer a bedroom community. We're a community that has international tourism, wine country, and of course, out in Coachella Valley. We're also a county now that employs a workforce. We've had tremendous workforce development here. And our residents no longer really need to leave the county to work. But really what we're finding is we have a choke point from one side of the county to the other side of the county, from Coachella Valley, as we call it, to the western side of the county, this side of the San Jacinto Mountains, we say, through the I-10 corridor. The problem is that we now need to develop and focus our transportation corridors through that artery in and out to efficiently move people, obviously reduce greenhouse gases, create safety, and then of course our low or disadvantaged communities to allow them access to education, healthcare, and jobs as well. Additionally, Riverside County has one international airport, the Palm Springs International Airport. A lot of people think it's Ontario. Ontario is not Riverside County, that's San Bernardino County. And then of course our military bases go through these corridors as well. Riverside County, our forefathers in the 80s did start this project with the idea that we would have arterials that were connected to up in the pass area where the 10 and 60 meet. And we would have veins or smaller channels connect to that. That was part of the 79 original realignment project, was to start feeding north to south traffic from the southern part of the county, the 15 region, San Diego, up to the 10, and bypass the 215, 60 corridor, which if you travel, you know all the semi trucks and how impacted those corridors are today. In 2016, RCTC did approve this project, full environmental approval, no environmental litigation, and full approval of the right-of-way. The project has been defined as a long-term project based on the need for federal funding. Federal funding only comes roughly once every decade, when there's a recession or there's a need for stimulus, or Congress defines money to put in these special needs. Coming out of COVID, they passed what's called the Infrastructure Financing Act, $3 trillion for roads, bridges, good movement corridors to be focused on. This is something we haven't seen since 2008, roughly the Great Recession. So we're talking about 12 or 14 years since we've seen this kind of federal funding. So right now, RCTC has really this one project that can be applied for this federal funding. There are no other large projects like this that RCTC has approved. This is literally the only sole project that our county can apply for to receive that federal funding. In addition, our legislative leaders are in key positions, which include Congressman Calvert, Congressman Ruiz, and Congressman Aguilar on the congressional side. And on the senatorial side, we have Senator Feinstein, which we've been very successful historically with them. In the 2008 funding that I just mentioned, we received about $1.2 billion for the flyover in Corona at the 91-15 interchange that's there. That's where those dollars came from. So really right now is the time that we need to focus on really inter-county, interconnecting, investing within our own county. I'm kicking off with our project, of course, which is highly supported by this region. And that's really where I'm supporting the coalition. I'm driving the coalition. As you're hearing, Winchester, Hemet is tonight. San Jacinto was last week. And we're working on several other counties. And there have been other agencies such as the Maria Temecula group that's adopted it. The Temecula Chamber is taking it up June 1st. The PASS EDA has already adopted it as well. So we're working as a broad coalition to really improve the county and make those interconnections that we have, starting with the 79. The name TV to CV was really a much better way than 79. A lot of people think of 79 just something that impacts our valley, and it really isn't. It's something much broader to the region. And TV stands for Temecula Valley to Coachella Valley, which is really that impetus of moving people along the tourism corridor that's there. So I'm very pleased that you're being presented this tonight and you're hearing this. I hope you have support. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
I think it's great. If I could add a little bit to that.
Sorry.
Of
No,
course.
go.
Of course, yes. Thank you, Andrew. Very well done. And as he said, this project, this realignment of Highway 79 from Temecula up to Interstate 10 has been in the works since the 80s. Parts of it have been done. Our valley is the last portion of that. And since it was, it's been approved, it's a huge price tag. It is set to Caltrans standards. It's, I think, for the most part, 6 lanes. And everything about it was approved without any lawsuits, which is just unheard of, because even the Mid-County Parkway had 4 lawsuits against it before it was finally approved. But this is something that we discussed, let's put it this way, annually. RCTC has a retreat workshop, work study, where there's a representative from each city in Riverside County. So 28 of us get together and discuss transportation issues and what the priority is going to be for the coming year. Several years ago, we did a traffic relief plan that was to build out several areas, and then COVID hit and nothing really much was done, at least not in our area. And smaller projects were getting approved because smaller amounts were easier to come by. At this conference in January or February, whenever it was, most of the talk that we had was, let's look at where the choke points are in our current transportation corridors. And while we've added lanes on the 91, when they come back down, there's a choke point. There's added lanes on the 215, on the 15, on everything, but still nothing here. With the realization that San Diego County, parts of Orange County, all of Southwest Riverside County have found the shortcut to the desert. And it's through our valley, which ends up being on city streets for both Hemet and San Jacinto. I talked at length at that conference about the need to relook at Highway 79, and the rest of the commissioners agreed with me. It is time to look at this corridor and up to the 10, and the desert cities were really kind of enthusiastic about it because it means more money for them. And with the infrastructure bill, omnibus bill from Washington, it's time. It's time that everybody gets on the same page with the same result in mind, is that we really need, all of Riverside County needs this corridor done so that we can bring more tourism, we can bring more economic development, and we can improve our own city and our own valley. So thank you so much. I think it's a great idea too.
Go ahead.
City attorney, as far as this resolution is concerned, can we make a couple of changes? Will that affect anything?
So you can make changes, but it seems like everyone's adopting similar language. So I guess the question would be, what would you have to change? And obviously that's the speaker to opine as well.
I think at the part where it says Marine Corps, Marine Bases, Marine Corp, corpse should be corpse.
How's it spelled?
No S.
I think it should be corpse. It should, I'm saying it wrong, but
Or
CORPS.
should be CORPS.
It looks like it is missing the S.
Yeah.
And then also I think we should put Riverside in front of county after Coachella Valley. And that would, I think it'd just make it look better, like we know what we're talking about.
Can I make a comment? The Marine Corps base as as it's printed is correct.
Correct. We pulled that from the Marine
It's
Corps.
Marine Corps with no
base.
S.
The
No
name-
S?
They're
Not the way it's,
So too.
not the way it's used.
Not the way
Okay.
it's used.
Yeah.
Okay.
not the department, it's the
Program
base.
Combat.
Never knew there was a change.
No
I
S
do
on
have a
that.
question. I was talking with someone, I can't recall who it was, but they said something in 2016, they got approval for something and it runs out in 2026 or something. Can you elaborate on that, please?
So as you know, California has its own environmental process separate from the nation. So the national standard is NEPA, or the National Environmental Protection Act. California came up with their own more stringent environmental process called CEQA, or the California Environmental Quality Act. So many projects have to go through both of those processes. So they go through California and go through the national process. This process for this project is called the EIR, the Environmental Impact Report. So typically these are good for a period of 10 years. There's been challenges to other projects that went beyond that. So there's definitely a question around that specific expiration. So since this was adopted in 2016, the 2026 period is where it's at risk potentially of expiring, or there being maybe new environmental challenges or laws that have changed since 2016. As you're aware, every year the city council receives a list of new development codes from the
Right.
state, and you have to approve them, or they come to you for approval to change your development code. So those things change over time. So typically these sort of studies over a period of time start to expire and can be more easily challenged in the process. So that's what we're coming into. And that's besides the cost of inflation or this project, obviously going
Now,
up substantially.
is that something that will hold this project up if we exceed that year or past 2026? And is that a high cost to go out and have that reevaluated? And
So what we've seen is that exact sort of thing happens. We're not there, we're not in the process, so we don't really have a dollar figure or cost that might be put on that. But what we are seeing from the commission is as time has gone by, this project really originally started at $1 billion. We've invested over 100 million, and now we're at $2 billion. So it's doubled in cost because of the amount of time.
Yeah.
So you can imagine as we get to 2026, if there's even discussion of it being extended or revisited for whatever period of time, that this cost is just going to incrementally go up, if not just basically be costly enough where they just stop altogether.
Yes. Oh, boy. Okay. And where is this 79 realignment going to run from? And where is it going to be through our valley? What street locations or what area?
Well, if you're familiar, the 79 as it stands is like a jigsaw puzzle through the San
Yeah.
Jacinto Valley. It comes down Lambs Canyon from the I-10 corridor, and then it cuts east over to San Jacinto Street, comes down San Jacinto Street, and then it cuts back westward through the valley to Winchester Road, and then goes down
I'm going to
to
fix that, right?
yeah. So the alignment that was adopted comes down Lambs Canyon and makes somewhat like an S through the western portion of San Jacinto and Hemet, and tees into 79 right along Winchester Road on the west side of Diamond Valley Lake. And it would have interchanges, so nonstop, no red lights, all this traffic and pollution from cars stopping, coming through our valley would stop. And there'd be off ramps at Sanderson, Warren Road, Dominigoni, and also Winchester Road. I
Thank you,
think
sir.
Esplanade too. That's a good question. And I appreciate Linda, Councilwoman Krupa's efforts over these years, and I'm still out there pushing this. So much appreciate your yeomanship on this.
Any more questions? Make a motion.
I will make a motion that the City Council of the City of Hemet approve consideration of a resolution supporting the Riverside or RCTC's State Route 79 realignment, or the TV to CV. Yes, we've got to push this coalition.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Sir?
Motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lilienthal. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Right.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Kodiak. Appreciate it. Thank you. Here, our next discussion item is 8D. And I see we have somebody over there.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Veronica Allen, Management Analyst with the City Manager's Office. The item before you is consideration of allocations for 2023-24 Community Development Block Grant. The Community Development Block Grant aligns with council adopted objectives under quality of life, partnership and collaboration, and community engagement. For fiscal year 23-24 CDBG program, the city received 21 applications, 7 for city operations, 13 from nonprofit agencies, and 1 from a for-profit agency. Planning and administration does not require an application to be submitted. The 2023-24 HUD Community Development allocation is $827,276. There is an additional $298,844.64 from the fiscal year 2019-2020 to be reallocated in fiscal year 23-24. And this can be reallocated to public housing infrastructure projects. So the total to be allocated is $1,126,120.64. This slide represents the amount requested by the nonprofit agency or city department for public services and the CDBG allocation from the ad hoc committee. There's a 15% cap for public services in the amount of $124,091.40 that can be allocated. And the font is really small. I'll go ahead and just list each one. Police Explorers requested 20,000. Ad hoc recommendation is 10,000. Valley Restart Shelter for outreach and navigation requested 85,000, and ad hoc recommendation is 15,000. My City Youth After School Program requested 40,000, and ad hoc allocation is 20,000. Voices for Children requested 10,000 and is receiving a 10,000 allocation. Caravan requested 25,000 and is receiving 9,000 allocation. Community Pantry Food Rent and Utility Assistance requested 16,500 and is receiving an allocation of $15,091.40. Exceed Art in the Park requested 34,800, is receiving 9,000. Valleywide Recreation Park and Park District Youth Scholarship requested 10,000 and is receiving an allocation of 10,000. Michelle's Place Cancer Support Services is new requested 20,000 and is receiving 10,000. The Happier Life Peer Support Services is new, requested $46,756 and is receiving 9,000. We Care Boost program is new, requests 210,000 and is requesting, it's receiving 5,000. And Together on Disabilities, KEVI 10 sponsors 10, requested 30,000 and is receiving 2,000. Moving to public housing and infrastructure allocation. There's an allocation of $836,574.04 that can be allocated. This amount includes that $298,844 from fiscal year 1920. In the engineering department or public works engineering, 2324 accessible sidewalk and ADA ramps is requesting 518,856 and is receiving 200,004 cents. The library security service requested 56,170 and is receiving 28,085. Housing rental property rehabilitation program requested 200,000 and is receiving 200,000. Department of Life Safety Code compliance requested 250,000, is receiving 158,711. Housing program, ADA program, requested 50,000 and is receiving or allocating 50,000. And the Housing Senior Disabled Home Repair program requested 250,000 and is allocating 125,000. Value-wide Recreation and Park District, Jerry Searle Park Restroom and ADA project requested 170,000 and ad hoc is allocating 50,000. And then the Valley-wide Recreation and Park District, Bill Gray Accessibility Project requested 80,000 and is allocated 24,778. The administration allocation is for Fair Housing Council of Riverside County, which is receiving the full amount of 43,000, and City Administration Planning and Housing is receiving $122,455.20. There's a 20% cap for planning and administration, and that total is the $165,455.20. Staff is requesting council approve the ad hoc committee allocations or direct staff to return to ad hoc to make any revisions. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Council members?
Got a few questions and a lot of concerns. But you expected that. Question on some of these new nonprofits that are on here. Are there any guidelines in the rules that, since it says community, that it has to be our community? I mean, Michelle's Place is in Temecula, and I understand they do good work. I have breast cancer. I understand what they do, but they're not in Hemet.
I received that question from the ad hoc committee as well, and they do serve hundreds of Hemet residents at Michelle's Place, and that is the reason why they are requesting CDBG funding.
Okay, what about the Happier Life?
The Happier Life is an agency who would like to provide outreach to the homeless community in the city. And
you said they would like to, that means
that's their goal.
They don't do this. It's a wish list.
Yes, that's correct. This is,
and how do they do that?
They have a action plan. They will have a building here in the city and staff to provide the outreach to the community.
But I mean, how did they do that? Are they going to supply food? Are they going to supply clothing? Are they going to get them into housing? What are they going to do besides with, with the name A Happier Life? I mean, it's a good, it sounds like something really good. But I mean, what are they planning? What is their plan? How are they going to utilize this money?
They have case managers who will go, what? Case managers?
Oh, okay.
Who will go out in the field, kind of similar to what we have with CityNet, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
And-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So that they have the case managers, they'll go out in the field. They will refer residents that are unhoused to services, mental health, substance use, housing.
Okay. And I know what We Care is, but they are in the county. And what is Together on Disabilities?
Together on Disabilities is a nonprofit agency who serves families with disabled children, and they will provide field trips, rental assistance, school supplies to the children of these families.
Okay.
And it keeps the store open because the kids go there to work.
Yeah, the
See over the
store
top
is
of you.
located on Harvard Street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Alrighty, then I'll go on to my next. I always have heartburn when Valleywide asks us for money. I don't have a problem giving them money for sponsorships and things for their kids. But when it comes to their capital improvements, they probably have a larger tax base than we do. So did you look at their financial statements and see where all their money's going? So those are most of my angst items. I mean, I see agencies on here that do outstanding work and always every year do outstanding work. And I think we need to continue funding the ones that are successful. And while I don't mind serving new ones, because Voices for Children, I think, came to us about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. I was not familiar with them. The program that they do, the work they do for the children that live in our city is phenomenal. I just have some problems with some of these others. And those are my comments.
What do you want to do about Happier Life and
What is
you
We
can still
Care's-
move it, right?
Well, what is the Boost program? I
The
guess I
Boost-
should ask that.
the
for
Boost-
We Care.
We Care is a for-profit agency. However, they help low to moderate income micro businesses which are eligible for community development block grant. And these micro businesses, micro enterprises are what's
This
the
isn't
word?
the daycare.
They're like daycare.
Yeah, but it's not the We Care that's out on by Little Lake School. Is it the daycare center that deals with
It's a
disabled
daycare.
children?
Yes. Yes. And so We Care provides assistance with growing their business. They're as a micro enterprise. That's their project.
But they've now become a for-profit instead of a nonprofit?
We Care.
We Care. We Care was a
The
child care
headquarters
facility.
is
that-
a for-profit agency. They help micro enterprises, the child care.
Interesting. I'm really.
Veronica, we
I'm
can still
really
move these
confused.
numbers, right?
I'm sorry?
We can still move these numbers, right?
I'd like to make just a couple comments. I did look up the new ones and I didn't write a lot about We Care because they had so many national sponsors that I just figured.
What
And
are
it-
we doing?
and it's childcare, and they have a lot of big sponsors. So that's my notes on that. Happier Living is more for mental health. And the Together on Disabilities, it helps young adults learn work skills, like Malcolm said. That was their main thing that they did. So that's just my comments.
We are not married to these numbers.
You mean Jackie and I can talk you out of it? Why don't you put us on the ad hoc?
We move Happier Life and We Care.
I'd just like to say that this,
Hollywide stuff. I don't care what you do.
I'd just like to say that this was like a big list for us to look at and kind of analyze for this meeting. Maybe we could like wait till next meeting and research it a little more and have more discussion on it. I think the ad hoc.
Table it if you want, that's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, I think the ad hoc team did a great job, but there's just a few things that we might want to research a little bit more before we decide on the whole thing as one.
I have a question because I agree with you for legal. Okay, the ad hoc went through all of this with Veronica, which
Yes.
is phenomenal. And you guys always do a good job. And I know we get a lot of information and reams of paper that come in or whatever. Is it possible to continue this item and basically have Veronica talk to Jackie and I and
Yeah,
give us the nitty
absolutely. So
gritty?
if you're worried about like a serial meeting or something like that, by having this meeting, we've broken the kind of chain. So that, you know, if both of you wanted to meet individually with staff or together, that would be permissible. If you wanted to continue the item to a future meeting and do that.
Yes.
You're the.
Well, I mean, I don't want it to, violate any Brown Acts or step on anybody's toes or whatever. But I mean, we're looking at a large sum of money over quite a few very, very needy organizations. And I agree with this. I'd just like more in-depth information than what we got in the staff report and the, than we got. I know, I used to be on that committee all the time and it was like, you can't even pick the book up. It's so heavy. So if we could do that, if Jackie and I could meet with Veronica and the city manager or whoever and just have some of our other questions answered and look at the applications also just to find out more about what they do, I definitely appreciate that.
So if the council wanted to continue this for 2 weeks to the next meeting or however long the city manager thinks is appropriate to be able to set that meeting up and have it, that would be
At
permissible.
the CM's discretion.
I think 2 weeks would be fine.
Yes. Okay, I can meet with you. Thank you.
So you might want to make a motion to that effect and
Motion to table it till next.
maybe
No.
to continue it
Nope.
to the next.
To continue it to a date uncertain.
I'll second it.
At CM's discretion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Krupa, a second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 3-1 with Mayor Mills voting no.
Thank you, Veronica. Our next discussion is item 8D. May we receive a report on this staff item, please?
Yes, good evening. There's no presentation for this. This is simply a cleanup item from December of 2018. When the grant was accepted, they appropriated the entire amount that included the ATP grant from Measure A. So we're here to take that back and create a new fund for ATP. That's pretty much the gist of this entire item.
If I can just, can I make a comment in addition
go
to
ahead.
making a motion to approve this? I sit on Regional Council for SCAG. At the last meeting of SCAG, we appropriated $56 million for projects in the SCAG area, all of them having to do with ATP projects. Hemet had 4 of them on the list. We did not make the cutoff because it ended up there was close to $1 billion in projects in the SCAG region, which is 6 counties. But we were close. We were getting closer and closer and closer. And there's always a lot of money for ATP, alternative transportation projects or programs, or whatever the P stands for.
Programs.
And it's important that we keep applying for them, even though a whole lot of people say it's throwing money away because people don't ride their bicycles. Yeah, they do. You can go out on the Dominagoni and see people on bicycles on that new bikeway that opened there all the time. You can see them up on the trails around Batista, around Simpson Park, from Dominagoni down to Skinner. And it's really important that we continue this project when applying for grant funding and using the grant funding in a timely manner so that we qualify for more, because the more you get, the more you qualify for, because they say those people, that city is really interested in doing things for active participation in outdoor sports. And bicycling is a sport, walking is a sport. And this provides a safe area and a safe manner in which they can do that.
Did Hemet apply for any of the grants or?
Yes, we were on the list, but we didn't make the cutoff. There was like 18 pages of applications for different projects. And I think we had at least 4. But they base them on how close they are to being ready, however many people it'll serve, what's the actual area, what's the demographic of the community, how it connects to existing bikeways and walkways and all of that good stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into consideration. And I really appreciate that you guys are doing that. And Veronica is going to do an even better job coming up this year, connecting all of the grants for us so that we can get into the millions and millions of dollars of receiving grants to improve our community. So it's a big deal. And I really appreciate the fact that we did this and that we're not using Measure A funds, because that goes to the streets.
How did we make this error on, or what happened?
I'm not sure. Once this project was approved and we started moving forward with trying to issue POs for the contractor and whatnot, we realized that all this entire amount had been appropriated for Measure A. So we have to fix that before we can move it forward.
Okay, thank you.
If no other comments, I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Councilmember Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 4-0.
Noah. One more, right? Our next discussion item, is AD.
8E, yes, Mayor.
Okay.
With the council's permission, I'm giving the staff report on this item. At the last meeting, while we were discussing the appointment of members to the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission, it was, I think, accurately pointed out that we had a little bit of an issue with our code, which is that in order to have a quorum of the Rent Review Commission, we're required to have the presence of both the tenant representative and the park representative. However, under state law, there is a distinct possibility that on any given rent review, either the tenant rep or the park rep could be conflicted off because they had a conflict of interest. For example, if the tenant resided in the park whose rent application was being subject to review, it'd be inappropriate for them to participate in that decision. Same thing for the park representative. We didn't have a process in place explicitly to appoint alternate members for that board or for any board. So what we did was for the already existing Hemet Municipal Code section 2-164, which relates to quorum. And since this is the problem we were attempting to solve, we figured it would make sense to add the necessary language there. We took the existing language, we made that subsection A, and then we added a new subsection B, which allows for the council to appoint alternate member or members who may vote on any question in the event of an absence or disqualification of a regular member when such absence or disqualification results in the absence of a quorum. So that specifically addresses the issue on the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission, where you have a disqualification because of a conflict of interest that would result in the absence of a quorum. But also opens up the possibility if there are other boards and commissions that the council, for whatever reason, is concerned or having difficulty making quorum, the city council could appoint alternates that would be available basically on standby to ensure that those boards and commissions would be able to have a quorum because of an absence or a disqualification. If there's any questions, happy to answer them, but I'm pleased with the speed at which we moved on resolving that particular issue and getting it to the city council.
Thank you, sir. Any comments? Any motions?
You know, and I know I brought this up. And after thinking about it a really long time, and while it's a good idea, I wonder if we're doing an end run around the voters. And I'm sure this never came up in discussions back when this was a ballot item, I mean, a measure that went to the public. It's the same thing with the oversight committee for what was measure, what was it? It was measure U, and then it became measure H or whatever. But none of them, I mean, while they have some loose requirements on them, none of them have the precise language that the Rent Review Commission does, or Rent Review Commission for mobile home parks. So how would this actually work in real life?
So what it would work is
We have 5 people now. We appointed them at the last meeting.
yes. So I don't think we're particularly concerned about the 3 at-large members. I do think we are particularly concerned about at least the tenant representative and potentially the park representative. In looking at the language of the ordinance that was passed by the voters, it's clear that the intent is for this board and commission to be able to review rental increases for any park within the city.
Right.
Right. The conflict of interest laws weren't that different back when this was passed. And so it's hard to believe that the voters intended that every park's rent increases could be reviewed except for the park where the tenant representative resides, or every park's could be reviewed except for the park which the owner representative works at or owns. So it seems reasonable that there has to be a process for dealing with the disqualification of that member, because the section specifically requires that both of those members be present to constitute a quorum. We are not allowed to change the substance of a voter approved initiative. We are allowed to supplement it to achieve the intent of that ordinance. And I think that's what we're doing here. So long as the alternates are appointed in the same manner. So for example, when we're talking about the tenants, right? There's a process for appointing the tenants. Same thing with the park representatives. They should be selected from applicants supplied by an association of the mobile park owners. So we can ask the owners and ask the tenant associations, give us a list of applicants so that we can have alternates ready to go in case there is a disqualification or absence of those necessary individuals. and have them ready to go. I do know that there was some question from the park owner representative. And I think that's good. It's always good to wonder exactly how something is going to work. Which is why when we drafted the language, we tried to use as light a touch as we could. Again, focusing only on absence or disqualification that makes it so you don't have a quorum, right? And so, for example, if one of the at-large members was absent, but the others were present and you had the park rep and the tenant rep, that at-large member's absence would not require the participation of an alternate. And then similarly, the tenant alternate would only be able to sit in the place if the tenant member wasn't present. They couldn't sit in the place of an at-large member or sit in the place even of a park rep, right? They're there to make sure that the hearings can go forward. I think that effectuates the purpose. I don't see Julie in the audience today. She does keep track of ordinance such as this, and she knew this one was on our radar. I have not gotten any communications from Park Owners Association or Tenant Association about this particular issue. It was well known that we were going to be addressing this via ordinance. So obviously without speaking for anybody, the implication that I get is no one is majorly concerned about this resolution to the issue.
So basically, I mean, we have the 5. Say the whoever, something comes forward that the park owner, would they have to resign to have somebody else appointed as, or, I mean, do we?
No, I think
not appointing any alternates. We're having a ready list of applicants that we could then bring in.
So the way that the ordinance has been drafted is that you can appoint the alternate member in advance. So you could get the list from the Park Owners Association of who they want their alternate to be. You could review that. You can appoint it and say, this is the alternate park representative. You could have the tenant alternate representative ready to go. You don't have to do it that way. That's how I envisioned it occurring. Alternatively, this simply gives you the authority to appoint alternates when a disqualification occurs. You could wait until there is in fact an application that results in a disqualification and a lack of a quorum, and you could take ready-made lists and make an appointment at that time. I guess for me, I think my general recommendation as city attorney is that you appoint people before the hearing's pending, as opposed to appointing somebody after the hearing is pending, because it avoids any allegation that you appointed someone specifically because you knew how they were going to maybe decide on any particular issue. But I think that that's something that could be addressed in the future. I was just trying to create a pathway so that but we can have a hearing. What I would hate to happen is, like I said, we have a tenant rep who lives in a park. If we get a rent review application for that park, that tenant rep is disqualified.
Right.
We can't have a hearing unless the council appoints somebody else and removes that individual, which seems like a pretty extreme remedy for a relatively simple problem.
Just like a jury trial, you have alternates on a jury trial.
I think it's an excellent example, yes.
But if you have a tenant at a park or a manager at a park, you wouldn't be able to pull an alternate from that park. You'd have to pull from another park.
So I think that's a good point. So if you were looking at a list of alternate tenant representatives, for example, I would highly recommend that you not pick someone who lives in the same park as your main rep, because that would kind of defeat the purpose, right?
Okay, so long as it's a pathway, it's not set. It's like, you don't have to do it right now this way.
He's one of the reps, or one of the, not alternate, but he has a question. Is it all right if he asks?
Your meeting, Mayor.
Mr. Larned, if you'd like to go to the podium, please.
City Council. You had two applications for both the tenant rep and the owner rep. And if you have those two applications in there already, contact them and find out, did they change their mind or what happened? Because those were the two that were interested in doing that. And if we already have one of each already on file, then I think we ought to at least work from there. Because we had 3 at large, and I was one of them, and we had 2 for each of the tenant and the owners. So if we already have applications in, I think it would only be right to contact
At
them
large, we're
first.
not worried about. It's the tenant and the owner.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that.
And we need to get alternates from different
Well,
parks.
if we had, well, were those, well, the owner had to be from a different park. If you can't have 2 owners of the same park. So if you had 2 owners that would like to have been on the panel, one was here, and you had 2 tenants that also applied, and one was here, and find out if it was from a different park. If it is, then we have a possible alternate right there.
I believe they were from different parks.
Okay.
And I do believe that there were individuals, including I think the park owners representative, who said they could get more applications for the council if you wanted to have a list of both tenants and park.
I think our mistake was when we picked our 2 people from the parks, we should have told the other ones that they were the alternates at that time.
I wouldn't say it was a mistake, Mayor. I think you operated with the ordinance you had in front of you.
Yeah.
They were here.
The ordinance you had authorized you to appoint a tenant rep. It didn't have any language in there that authorized the appointment of an alternate.
But I'm just saying hindsight.
Yeah, so like I said, this seems like something that should have come up before now, but we're fixing it now.
All right. So
Okay, so my question is this, so how are we going to approach this then? So who's going to contact the people?
So that's a good question, because how I had thought this would likely work out is once this ordinance goes to second reading, is adopted, 30 days later goes into effect. So we're talking about 2 months from now, right? My anticipation is that the city clerk's office would then be able to run notice of availability of positions for the alternates. We could ask the park owners, we could ask the tenant associations, give us lists of alternates so that we can bring them to the city council for appointments as alternates. However, Councilmember Krupa had indicated that, and she's correct, the ordinance doesn't require that. It simply allows the appointment of an alternate. So if the council simply wanted to have lists of alternates ready to go, and then if we received a rent review and we were going to have a disqualification, the council wanted us to bring the alternates forward at that point for appointment, we could. It's really up to the council. And if you wanted to give some direction tonight, I'm sure we'd love to get it.
Move names to start with that were denied and bring them in as alternates. And then also set your advertisements out for additional alternates.
We could certainly include the 2 that already applied in the list of potential candidates for the council to consider. Do you want to appoint the alternates ahead of time, council? Do you want to just have lists ready with the city clerk, and if we need one, they get brought forward and you guys can appoint? I mean, you meet every 2 weeks, so it isn't like, the application will get delayed all that long.
I'm just thinking that a lot of the people that are volunteering are probably retirees and they probably travel a lot. So if you have an alternate, they may be out of town also. So it might be better to have a couple of people.
Okay.
And
just have a list and come to the city council and be like, we have a pending rent review. We need an alternate. We called the 4 people that are on the list. 2 of them are traveling. 2 of them are available. Here's the name of the 2 that are available. Which one would you like to appoint? Is that the idea?
yes.
We will memorialize that in an email to ourselves so that we remember that that was the
Okay.
direction.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this item.
As stated, okay. Second?
I'll second.
Oh,
Going to do a roll call because it's a way of reading and introduction of an ordinance title. And I heard a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal and then a second by Mayor Males first. So we're going to go through the roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Lowenthal, Mayor Males,
yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-0 to waive full reading and introduce by title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hemet, California, amending section 2-164 related to alternate members when necessary for a quorum.
Oh, who'd you say seconded that? Councilmember Krupa. Wasn't me.
You said second.
I seconded? I thought you seconded.
I said I'll second that, but I don't know.
never-
I don't know what you said, if you said anything. That was my voice.
Got it. I threw my voice over to you.
Okay.
All right, so got that corrected, Councilmember Linda Krupa. We will now move on to city council and staff reports. Let's get this.
Okay. The library, tomorrow, Wednesday at 2:00 is story time. And the topic is Earth Day. So take your grandchildren, go to the library at 2:00
2:00.
and learn all about Earth Day.
Try to get my grandson there. What do I do with it?
I'm looking at these things and I'm trying to remember when the last time we met. I don't really have a lot to report. So I'm done.
Oh, my God.
But
I'm so
thinking-
happy.
I'm thinking, what have I done lately? Can I share?
Oh,
I don't know. It's okay. It's okay.
Jackie Peterson, council member.
Okay, so I went April 3rd to the WRCOG Executive Committee, and that was in Riverside, and we adopted their strategic plan. And the key discussion points were identified and topics for further consideration included regional truck parking, which we all are interested in at this point, regional water, and homelessness. So I think that we're going to be discussing those in the near future. The 2023 General Assembly for WRCOG is going to be on June 29th at Pechanga Resort. And at that, we are going to present a community service award. And I am happy to announce that our Hemet nominee of Ronnie Imel, who is a Vietnam Army Ranger, and he continues to serve the veterans and community, was selected for this individual award. So this year they only picked one person, and Mr. Ronnie Imel received that recognition. So he and his wife will be a guest on June 29th, and I will be very happy that I see him get this award. He does a great deal for our community. So the fiscal year 2023-24 budget was presented. We're doing well. And the SCAG conference and General Assembly will be in Desert Springs, May 4th and 5th. And I have another meeting coming up on Monday. So I will have more to report. And for Ramona Bowl, I've been out there. I've been to their meetings. I've been volunteering, and they are just going gangbusters. It's great. It's great. Everybody's so excited about it. And like they said earlier, there's still more tickets available. So encourage everybody to come out. I always say near and far. Somebody mentioned the gentleman from New York. I talked to probably that gentleman, and he's a supporter of Ramona Bowl. And I also talked to this lady from Orange County that came with a few of her friends, and she was asking about ticket prices and everything. So we're getting people not just from this immediate area, we're getting them from all around, and they've worked really hard on their public relations and advertising and everything. So it's very good. So, but other items, they discuss the rates for renting the Ramona Bowl for outside activities, because they do that on occasion. And we'll have more discussion on that. And they'd like to have more events throughout the year to include the summer concert series and movie nights. So look for more activities when the pageant gets done. Helen Hunt Jackson, who wrote the novel Ramona, she's been approved for a star in the Palm Springs Walk of Star for her life's work. So we need to have a big fundraiser to cover the costs of the star and the unveiling ceremony upon completion. And there is a concept out there that we want to have the Rock Indians throughout the year to help us. And we have one right here. So that'll be coming forth shortly, and we're pretty excited about that, because it's a big honor, and it'll draw more attention to the Ramona pageant and the bowl and stuff. So May 20th was the fourth grade performance. April 20th. Yeah. And I think there was 3,500 students. Is that correct?
Yes.
3,500 students came out there, and they just had a blast, I heard. So it's going well. So spread the word. And that's all I have.
For community action partnership, the volunteer income tax assistant program was led by 6 committed volunteers, completed 86 tax returns across 2 active sites. And then meanwhile, the dispute resolution initiative resolved 363 mediation cases with the help of 16 volunteers, fostering harmony and understanding within their respective communities. They had a cool and warm center that had 3,294 visitors, and partnered with 49 organizations to provide comfort during the extreme weather conditions. And then so they also were able to distribute 16 laptops, 22 desktops, and 57 holiday bikes to those in need, fostering education during the Christmas season. And then the partnership also supported families, stuff like 1,152 units of baby formula, provided a little over 4 million in electric assistance, 69,000, a little over that in gas assistance, 1,500 in propane assistance, and that went across to 3,637 households. The water sewer program was allocated a little over $1 million in assistance to 1,646 households. And then their weatherization program invested 444,000, just a little over that, in 69 households to improve energy efficiency and living conditions for residents, benefiting homeowners and renters. And then as far as I'm an alternate on the league. So as far as the league is concerned, well, it's not really the league, but there's a lot of assembly bills coming down. There's number 18. That's the Alexandra's law. That's the one that it aims to add section 11369 to Health and Safety Code concerning controlled substances. So if it's passed, the bill will require that individuals convicted of or pleading guilty to no contest to crimes related to possession, sale, transport, or manufacture of various controlled substances receive a written advisory, and this advisory would warn them of the dangers of manufacturing or distributing controlled substances, and inform them that they can be charged with voluntary manslaughter or murder if a person dies as a result of their actions. And then the advisory statement must be provided in writing and recorded in the abstract of the conviction. Another one is they have like over 2,800 bills. this year. Assembly Bill number 23. This one is, the current law is the Proposition 47, classifies theft of money, labor, or property as petty theft, punishable as a misdemeanor if the value of the property does not exceed $950. So if it exceeds $950, the theft is considered grand theft and can be punished as a misdemeanor or a felony. So the bill amendment that's being proposed will bring it from 950 down to 400. And then Assembly Bill number 32. That one's about hate crimes. And then Assembly Bill number 60. That one aims to establish a right for crime victims to be informed of and participate in countywide approved restoration justice programs. And those programs will prioritize victim needs and be administered by independent community-based organizations. Assembly Bill number 75 introduced. This one aims to increase penalties for repeat shoplifting offenders. It seeks to reinstate a provision that was repealed by Prop 47, stating that a person convicted of three or more times of petty theft, grand theft, or other specified crimes, and subsequently convicted of petty crime or petty theft would be subjected to imprisonment in county jail for up to 1 year or 18 months or 2 or 3 years. And the bill would also apply these provisions to those with prior serious, violent, or sexual offenses. So the proposed amendments to the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act is going to require our approval in November next year. And then finally, SB 602. This one wants to amend the trespass law in California, and this is basically like if you have something on file when you call the police that someone's on your property, that gets transferred to if you sold your property. Those are just some of the bills that I wanted to share tonight. I would encourage you all to go look at as many as you can, because there's a lot of changes coming that we may not be aware of that will affect us.
Okay, first of all, skate park. Skate park's moving forward. I am happy with the movement on this skate park. I want to thank Mark Presswich, Noah Rao, Mark, for pushing this. We knew that we had an issue with finding things for kids to do, and this is going to be the kid-friendly park that we're going to have, and I'm very excited. I actually recruited someone that knows about skate park, Shelly Abbott of Generation Drilling, and she's been consulting me about it, saying they're doing a good job. The people that are working on it are people that she knows, says they're the best people, and they will do a good job. And we've gone out there a couple of times, so actually once, and so I'm happy. We need this, and this for the kids, so can't wait till it's built, because you build it and they will come. So thank you, guys. Lawmakers have proposed 2,630 new bills, the most in over a decade, and most of them are more than likely going to be more regulations. Cal City's board adopts positions on housing and homelessness bills. After an update on Cal City's advocacy efforts, including new survey data on city's response to the homelessness crisis, the board took support of amended positions on 4 measures: SB 4 Weiner, AB 1567 Garcia, SB 867 Allen, and SB 638 Eggman. SB 4 would allow schools and churches to build certain housing projects on their properties by right. Cal Cities is seeking amendments that allow cities to maintain their height and parking standards. The remaining 3 measures collectively propose $20 billion in bonds for safe drinking water, wildfire prevention, drought preparation, flood protection, and extreme heat mitigation. Cal Cities is seeking changes that increase the available investments for local governments. The board adopted support The board adopted support positions for SB 963 Chiavo, AB 1321 Bonta, and AB 15 Dixon. And SB 963 would help prevent foster youth from becoming homeless. AB 321 would provide academic, occupational, and other cradle to career services in certain communities, such as AB 15 would make state records about an inmate's release date and what the inmate did to earn any release credits, a matter of public record. The board directed Cal Cities to not take a position on SB 769 Gonzalez, which would require some members of all local legislative bodies to receive at least 2 hours of physical training every 2 years. Can you believe that? A bill? Oh my God. But anyways, that's all I have, and thank you. And we'll move on to the city manager report. I got it this time.
Mayor, did you have any ad hoc reports that you wanted to cover before my?
Oh, did I miss? Oh my gosh, I always jump the gun. Ad hoc reports. Do we? Yes, we do. Council Protocols Ad hoc Committee, Peterson Krupa. Oh, okay. Vision and Mission Ad hoc Committee, Mr. Lilienthal.
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you. Clean Up Graffiti Ad hoc Committee, Lilienthal Males.
Nothing to report, sir.
Homeless Outreach Ad hoc Committee, Lilienthal and Males. We'll add males on that.
Nothing to report, sir.
Business Outreach Ad hoc Committee, Males Lilienthal. Nothing to report. Caltrans Liaison Ad hoc Committee, Peterson Krupa.
Nothing.
CDBG Ad hoc Committee, Lilienthal Males. We're getting it reviewed. Banner Program Ad hoc Committee, Krupa Males. That's in the, or that's done, isn't it? Oh, perfect. Thank you. We will now move on to the city manager's report.
I just want to say thank you to our staff for their assistance in the vigil and preparing the vigil last night for Councilmember Carly Meyer. And I also want to acknowledge the generous contributions of the Fire Association and the Police Officers Association. They participated in helping to fund the flowers that surrounded that photograph. So really appreciate their help there.
All right, great, thank you. Do any members of the city council have any requests for future agenda items?
I have a request. It's not necessarily an agenda item, but I do have a request.
Speak.
As you are probably aware, Rotary and the city joined forces to get 22 trees that are going to be planted up at Simpson Park next Saturday morning. I would like to ask the city and or the council members to collectively plant a tree at probably a fire station in honor of Carly Meyer.
Sounds like a great request.
And if we cannot use taxpayer dollars, I am willing to chip in 1/4.
I thought all the trees were purchased and they were, and they're gonna,
this would be additional, and it would be down here at a fire station.
oh, down here at the fire. Okay, great. I think that's a beautiful idea.
City manager legal, should we combine the pennies of the 4 council members up here and buy a tree?
I think that I can consult with the city manager and we can look at it. We do have the existing public facilities naming resolution.
Yes, we do.
And I think that it may have some authority for the city manager to handle this administratively. If the council's direct, obviously it's not on the agenda and it's in his discretion, you don't have to give direction, but if the council all nodded, that was something you were interested in, I think we can handle it.
Thank you.
Is that it? I see you back there, but I only see your eyes.
I just have one other little comment that hasn't been mentioned yet tonight. May I say that?
Yes.
Okay. I believe May 20th is our quarterly city cleanup. And the last one did not get very much publicity. And the one before that, the whole city was out and everybody was helping. So I believe it's May 20th, and check your calendars and social media, whatever, because there's still a lot we need to clean up. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I believe I'm out of order, but if I may, I'd like to speak on the tree that Councilmember Krupa proposed.
Sure.
If funding is a problem, the Fire Association would be willing to make a contribution towards that tree.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
If funding is a problem, the Hemet Firefighters Association will be more than happy to make a contribution to offset the cost of the tree, so the city doesn't have to bear the full burden of the cost.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, can I make one more comment?
Don't know.
It's Jackie's fault.
Okay, as long as it's Jackie's fault.
If indeed May 20th is the next citywide cleanup where everybody brings their stuff to CR&R at the library, and it's far enough in advance that maybe we could get information out to all of the entities who have adopted a street, and we could get all of those people to clean up the streets, and then everybody else to pick up wherever they find stuff and bring it to the library, and we can really do a super duper cleanup all over.
Well, we got to market it. We got to advertise it. We got to get it out there because the last one wasn't. So the market, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, there, May 20th. Oh, there's May 20th?
Yeah, I think it's May 20th.
It's a Saturday. That would be great.
Always on a Saturday. Okay, is that it? Anyone else? Nope. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned in the honor of Council Member Carly Meyer to the next City Council meeting on May 9th, 2023. Thank you for joining us tonight.